meetings are normally chaired and managed, etc. And as you all know, we're normally in the chamber for our meetings, so sincere apologies. We're having some issues with the chamber communication system. So at the moment, we're in committee room 1, we're allowed, or we're hybrid or online. And as you all know, today, the first half of the scrutiny meeting is in here, and then those who can join us will be joining us in committees room 3 and 4 for a workshop. Okay. So I'm just going to remind you of the hybrid meeting protocol, if that's okay. So any councillor or co-optee who is joining remotely, just to remind you, if you can keep your camera on but muted. And if you wish to speak, just press the virtual hand on the screen and I invite you in. So I'll keep a mindful watch on who wishes to speak as well. And then when you have finished speaking, if you can remute yourself. And for all my colleagues joining me in committee room 1 today, if you wish to speak or make a comment, please, again, if you can raise your hand and then I'll invite you in to do so, if that's okay. Okay, we're not actually voting on anything today, but if it so happens, then you need to leave the chamber. If you haven't heard the full debate, that is another issue to be considered. Okay. So all cameras are on, so we'll begin the meeting. So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council's Aspirational Scrutiny Committee on today, Monday, the 17th of November. Please note this meeting may be recorded. Are we recording it, Jane? Okay, and broadcast via the authority's internet site. First on the item of agenda is apologies for absence.
We've had apologies from Jeff Beard.
Okay, and we send our very well wishes to Jeff. Jeff is slightly poorly at the moment, but we send our well wishes to Jeff, and I'm sure he'll join us soon. Item number 2, just to remind all colleagues, declarations of interests. Are there any declarations of interest today? No? Okay. And agenda item number 3 is the minutes of the previous meeting. I just need somebody to move the accuracy of the previous minutes of the meeting, which was held on the 8th of September 2025, if you've had a chance to look at them. Michelle and Natalie, thank you both. So supported and seconded. So that's all done. And then, of course, item 4, action logs. This is one for myself and the Cabinet member, and I do apologise. We just haven't had a chance to sort of cross our T's and dot our I's, but we will be sending a joint letter from myself as the Chair and Cabinet member as well. So it's one outstanding action, and post today, Gareth and I will put a diary date in, Gareth, yes, to do that. We'll carry that forward. Okay. Straight on to agenda item number 5 then, please, and that is to receive the library's report today, and I can't get my teeth in either, the library's report today, and our Cabinet member, Councillor Gareth Lewis, is going to introduce the report to receive an update on the library service.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, everyone. Before I provide a summary report, it's important to highlight 2 typos that are part of the published report. At 1.3, 2024-54 should, of course, read 2024-25. Let 2 members consider if there are any other aspects of libraries that they wish to scrutinise. I think that would be correct, Chair. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's acceptable, Gareth. Thank you.
This report focuses on the Welsh Public Library standards, which are the framework used by the Welsh Government Minister to ensure local authorities meet their statutory duties in providing library services. Each year, the local authority must ratify its submission to Welsh Government, and this document presents the assessment for Merthyr Tydfil Public Libraries for the 2024-25 year. Looking back, 23-24 assessment did raise concerns. At that time, the service met 10 of the 13 core entitlements, partially met 2 and failed to meet 1. Of the 7 quality indicators with targets, 4 were achieved, 1 partially achieved and 2 not met. For the 24-25 year, the situation has improved. Merthyr Tydfil now meets 12 of the 13 core entitlements in full, with 1 partially met. In terms of quality indicators, 3 are achieved, 1 partially achieved, and 1 remains unmet. Appendices 3 and 4 of the report also highlight the valuable work of the Library Outreach Service and its planned activities for the remainder of the financial year. Looking ahead, the ambition is clear: increase footfall across all libraries, strengthen engagement with schools and community groups, and embed the library strategy into everyday operations. Success will be managed through self-evaluation and performance indicators. Next steps include ensuring staff are fully aware of the Welsh Public Library Standards recommendations, aligning activities with the library strategy, and improving marketing through social media to raise awareness and participation. In summary, the report acknowledges progress made, outlines areas still requiring attention, and sets a forward-looking vision for stronger, more connected library services for Merthyr Tydfil. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you ever so much, Gareth. Appreciate that. Okay. So you haven't got anything to add at this point,
No.
you know. So, colleagues, I just want to open it up then to everybody in scrutiny. Are there any questions in relation to this report? Bob?
Yes. Thank you, Chair. First on this, I've got 2 questions. First on this, don't think it should be overlooked that there's been a big change in libraries, and it's very much for the better. And all the staff, and I would say education services need to be reminded of this, because it's their success. Going into the detail of it, there's only I'm only going to raise 2 aspects, but and these are covered in the reports. But I think it's important to ask the questions so that we can be assured that, you know, action is going to be taken up the line.
Of course.
First off is I'm a library user, and so that's how I come to know that things have changed quite dramatically, and I would almost say it's like libraries are now welcoming places for us, whereas they weren't before. But particularly, I think we should note where we're looking at the item of book stock, non-fiction, that I think we need to be very much on our game, because that's a section that I use a lot, and sadly I've got to say that often, you know, it's the same books from years ago. When you're talking about different topics that are of concern and that are raised as, you know, part of the library's mission to improve, the books tend to be out of date.
Okay.
Although we are now seeing some new books, we need to be very much improved on that, because otherwise old stock stuff that doesn't really relate to what's, you know, coming around now. When we're talking IT and computers, you know, we could still be talking about Windows 7, 8, 9 or 10, and not where we are now.
Yeah.
And it's, I think the same applies in some health and fitness categories which are important. So that's my question. Can we do more to make sure, check on the book stock and make sure that we're up to date? Our task. Second question is, And again, I would praise what's been done, as I've seen, in as far as events for children in schools, where I've come in. I thought particularly the Halloween display in Central was probably the best I've ever seen at the Central Library. It was really up to standard. But can we be sure that, in the programme going forward, that what's done is relevant and appropriate, as well as of interest, to bring children in, also to make sure that schools, when they come in, they go away inspired.
Yeah.
I know that there's national problems here, and it's only today that there was more publicity about the National Council for Literacy's annual survey in England, which actually dates back a few months, but there's only publicity about it today in the media about how disappointing it is that in their survey of 500 schools, that they found that kids' interest in reading in their spare time, their free time, has again been plummeting.
Yeah.
And so we know that the national background is hugely challenging. But surely we must redouble our efforts.
Yeah, of course.
Position.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Rob, and thank you also for noting, some of those marked improvements as well as some of those questions. So, Sue?
Yeah, I'll take those. Apologies as well to members that there's nobody from the library service here. I had invited Rhiannon Long, Edwards Long, is on leave, and Jane Edwards from Treharris would have been online, but she had other meetings as well. So apologies that there's nobody from the library service here. Although, as you can see from the appendices, they've actually they have contributed to the report. Bookstock. Anybody who goes to the library has the opportunity.
Can I just stop you there? It says Jane Edwards is waiting in the lobby.
Oh, right. Okay, David. Right. We'll have a look at it now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There we are.
Is she?
Oh, yeah, Jane, I've just given you the apologies to say that you weren't here, but you were waiting in the lobby. We can thank Councillor Isaac for that. I'm just about to give some answers. Rob has asked a couple of questions, so please feel free to come in if I give an incorrect answer or if you want to add anything to it. Okay? So Rob's asked a question about book stock. Now, anybody going to the library is able to ask for a book to be ordered, a book to be either ordered in or to be purchased. Now, we do have a lot of fiction that's that's bought in, because every time I go over there are new books that have been bought in. But if you were saying specifically around non-fiction, so I think Miss Jane Rhiannon, Anne Yates, and myself will take an action to relook at the non-fiction and to see how we can actually address that aspect. And you said in particular with health and fitness, but we'll have a look at that. You may be aware as well, Rob, that a couple of people came to see Gareth and myself a few months ago to actually look at how we could revisit the family history section and do some work around that. So I'm hoping Rhiannon was very keen on that. She's engaged with I'm going to get this wrong now, the People's Collection of Wales, People's Collections Wales, and they're doing some work with the libraries as well. So we will link in with the various societies as well to see if we can set up get that family history and that section, that local studies room at the top of the central library open again and actually available for the public to be able to use, because that's an excellent resource that currently isn't being used. If we are looking at book stock as well, we are looking at doing some digitisation of the books and the artefacts and resources that we have relating to Aberfan. The National Archives have had a grant for that, and we're working with them to look at how we can take that forward. In relation to the Halloween display, you saw on one of the appendices the forward work plan. And I think, yes, the Halloween display was excellent, and there've been some really good displays there. So making sure that that's relevant and appropriate. I've heard this afternoon that we've had a grant from Welsh Government to look at some digitalisation work. That's between the museums and the libraries. Rhiannon was very keen at looking at perhaps a literacy trail through Merthyr, linking in with some local history, but also some key authors that live in Merthyr, and actually those related to that. So I've only heard that's hot off the press because I've only had that information this afternoon. Last Thursday, I also appointed a replacement for Sian Anthony. I'm not going to say who it is yet because James on the call and none of them know yet because the person actually only said that they would take up the post today, but we have appointed a replacement for Sian Anthony who will start in the new year. So hopefully the improvements that you've seen will continue under the new leadership moving forward.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
May I just come back?
Yes, of course you may. Just before you do, Rob, I think David is going to note about Jane. We're not sure if Jane is here, doubly here or not, or there may be an issue, but if she can hear us, if she wants to go out and come back in. David, I'll bring you in quickly before Rob comes back.
That's what I was going to say, Chair. I don't know what's happened with her because she seemed to be here and then it's got on hold, so I don't know if she needs to leave and then try to rejoin again.
No problem. I think we'll send her a little message now. Hopefully she can hear us and we'll manage that then. But no problem. Thank you, David, for helping us. Rob, do you want to reflect on that as well?
Yes, and perhaps I should have declared my long-standing interest as a member of the Merthyr Tydfil Heritage Trust. So we've got interest in that, and also very interested to hear about that and that local history. Guess that family history might follow, but there is something happening about that. Mm-hmm. All I would ask is that soon as possible there is a liaison with all the local, diversity of the local and history groups to get them on board, because that I think would help.
I'm intent because the new senior lead won't start until the new year. I'm intending to have that meeting in the new year. And when we met with the representatives, I did say we would come back to them in the new to give us some opportunity to look at some work, look at some activities. But it's definitely for early 2026, Rob, that we will be taking that forward.
Okay. Rob, we'll note that declaration anyway, just as a matter of record, but it doesn't stop you taking part, so it's absolutely fine, no problem at all. Colleagues, are there any other questions in relation to the libraries item? Cool. I'll just make an observation before I bring everybody else, and just on something that Sue just said, which is really interesting, I think. Obviously, Aberfan is very important to all of us, isn't it? And marking the anniversaries of Aberfan, etc., and paying our respects to Aberfan as well. And I know that the infamous Cray twins sent their own letter and donation in for Aberfan, which is one of a number of letters. I know we've got a lot of letters there. But actually there was an auction 2 weeks ago where a lot of Cray memorabilia was bought, and the evidence was in there. £110. They were one of the largest personal donors to the Aberfan disaster and sent in a cheque for 150, I think it was actually, not £110. So things like that are interesting, aren't they, as far as, just how that reached out to people who perhaps you would have expected to reach out to, but very interested in the history of Merthyr Tydfil and Aberfan anyway. So, and thank you for noting that, Sue, the recommendation, you'll take that back regarding, publication dates, etc. Maybe some revisions. Some publications are revised, aren't they, to have the latest information in the latest word rob or the latest health and fitness. I'm probably not much good at either of those, mine, but yeah, it's useful to note that we are taking stock of that, excuse the pen, and looking at those recommendations there then as well. Okay. So the recommendations, obviously, within the body of this report, our councillor, cabinet member reminded us of that. So we're all happy to accept that we've met the recommendations in reading through and discussing that report. Does anybody have any comments they'd like to make in relation to the report? Not necessarily a question, but any comments? No. Rob?
Well, just to add, is it then the recommendation that we just note the report? Can we add, or I would propose that we add something along the lines that we, we urge the cabinet to, pursue the library strategy. I don't know if that's been seen before. I've not seen it till this afternoon. And press ahead, particularly on in the area of children's events and school liaison and encouraging literacy at different age groups.
Yeah, okay. Can I come in?
Yeah, please.
The cabinet did approve the library strategy before the summer break, which I think was June or June. The library strategy was approved by cabinet. This report now, or a version of this report, will go to cabinet in December, because cabinet have to actually approve the action plan from the WPLS. But what I can certainly do is add a couple of comments around the book stock for non-fiction and around the relevant and appropriate displays moving forward.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah, yes. But I think this is a sort of point of order question. So did the library strategy come to scrutiny, the old scrutiny?
No, it didn't. No, that was a mistake. We are expecting that to come back from audit. We've had a recent audit. It didn't come to scrutiny. There wasn't enough time for it to come to scrutiny, but it had to go to cabinet to meet the timelines for the WPLS. But we are aware that that was an issue, and it's been picked up by audit. So
when we were recently audited by Wales Audit, there was a question that they asked myself and believe yourself as well.
yes.
So further question is, should we now be scrutinising library strategy?
What I would suggest is that there's an action plan. There is an action plan that sits behind the library strategy. What members can scrutinise is the progress of that action plan.
So just a reminder just to help, and as a reminder for all colleagues, as you know, what we do is we do a bit of reflection at the end of the scrutiny meeting, reflecting back on the reports that have been presented to us today and any further sort of deliberation on those, or if we want to include them in the forward work plan. So what I've already noted there, Rob, is that we will pick this up and the action plan on the back of the strategy, and just the recommendation from today. We'll pick that up at an appropriate time so we can follow it up then with Sue and the team. Okay. Nat, sorry, did you want to come in?
Yeah, I was just going to make a comment that I know it refers to staff losses, but we've lost some fantastic staff from the libraries, and I think obviously that is, it says in the report about the challenge of losing staff and losing qualified staff. I just wanted to make the comment that I think it is a struggle for you. It's going to be a struggle in getting qualified staff back in role, making it an attractive place to work, and also one of the knock-on effects of that then is how the libraries assesses. So the inconsistency when you look at the meeting or not meeting targets, the inconsistency between the self-assessment and then the independent assessment as well. And obviously to be able to give a true reflection, you need qualified staff to be able to self-assess.
Of course, and you're quite right. Sorry, so we'll bring you in now if you want to reply. But just with regards to the staff that we do have, I mean, Jane I've known for such a long time, really is so knowledgeable. And I'm going back to when I used to go upstairs in Central Library and try and find things in the old Merthyr Express and everything. They were so knowledgeable and helpful in finding, you know, matters that were of interest to us, that helped counsel and think, oh, actually, this is what happened and this is what we need to do. So, you know,
I
certainly
think
not
we've lost a lot of the passion as well, because it's not just knowledgeable people. We had people that were genuinely passionate about their roles, and and we still got that as well. But I think there's qualified staff that also had the passion as well. So I think that's really a loss for us as well, which I forgot to mention this, I know we discussed it in pre-meet, was the bus, the library.
Yes, now I just reminded myself that. Apologies for going back a step, but we couldn't remember if we still have a mobile service or not.
We have a mobile service. We have a home start service.
That's what
we don't have a mobile.
We had this discussion in our pre-meet.
Something that I would have, or that I would love to have, but the cost of a mobile service is.
I think the mobile service was removed roughly 10 years ago.
I just couldn't visualise me stepping on a bus and stepping on. Do you know, I think you
that it was a number of years ago.
There's a home service that actually takes books out. So
now, is that the little white van that I see? That's the van I was on. Okay, so. Sorry, on that note, and apologise, we've mixed things up a little bit now, but Nat reminded me there is we were talking about the buses and trying to visualise it. So really we are meeting our needs to, you know, help those who are perhaps not physically able to get to a library. We can do the home service in order to get reading material and books to them then that way. Now that's good to know, because we did talk about that, didn't we, in the pre-meet, where it's opportunities for everybody depending on their needs in accessing that. Okay. Any other comments from either of you in relation to the report? You all okay? No other comments? All okay? Okay, then we'll conclude that agenda item then on libraries. We'll come back to it when we reflect on the forward work plan. So we'll go through the next items on the agenda. Just bear with me. You staying, coming, going. And then we've got a workshop with other officers coming in. So
we're going into 3. Are we going to 3, 4? I'm going to 3, 4 now.
Right. Okay. No, you're more than welcome to stay.
I'm going to 3, 4 now.
All right. Do you want to give the guys a heads up that we may be in a little bit earlier, Sue, than we thought? Is that okay? Thank you. Gareth, you're more than welcome to stay.
That's you shortly.
All right, no problem at all. Perhaps you could start writing an email.
Yes, I know.
Oh, thank you. Okay. With regards to the forward work programme, and there'll be an element of discussion around the forward programme in our workshop as well, but just with regards to the forward work programme at the moment, we've got a gap in April, so if there is something we may want to add or think about that we could include within the April element of our scrutiny. I have got a quarterly technical review with Clive as Vice Chair and with Gareth as Cabinet Member and Sue on the 1st of December. And just as a reminder for everybody, what happens in that meeting is we look at the forward work plan. I look at Cabinet's forward work plan and Council's now new forward work plan to see if there's anything in there that really knits into aspirational scrutiny that we can pick up. But I think actually we do need to discuss that and have a report on that ready for our planning then for the next year, commencing in April and May. Okay. We did propose a MAT task and finish group email sent out on the 25th of September asking for nominations. We hadn't had any nominations to date, but as Jeff was going to lead on that, guys, I think we'll just defer that for the moment. Go on, Natalie.
I didn't put myself forward because I term of office.
That's right.
Yes, so we'll see where we go with.
Let's see what happens there.
What happens with that, and then if so.
Yes, we could just redo it then. But I think just because Jeff is really passionate about it, I think we'll just defer it if that's okay with everybody. Postpone it just until I can have a chat with him, see how he's doing, and then see when we want to pick it back up. Is that okay?
Yeah. So sorry, Chair, that's passed me by. I'm not saying I didn't have the invite, but I must before.
It was before your time, Rob. Don't worry, you're all right. You've got to get out of jail free card, Rob.
Not invited.
No, not yet, but may do. When I speak to Jeff, who's one of our members who may want to pick it back up, then yeah, the invite will come out. Okay. We talked about an ALN session with the schools. Obviously, we've had some discussions around that. We'll talk about that in the workshop. And then any agreed changes to the draft forward work plan, and obviously any reports today just need to discuss really what happened today with regards to the library session, so we can make sure that we include that if we need to. So for me, I think we'll just pick up on the action plan from the library strategy, and see, just remind ourselves of those actions from there, and obviously then the recommendations today really regarding publications, out of date publications, that book stock, etc., and pick that back up then with Sue and the team at an appropriate point. But I'll talk to her about that in the quarterly technical meeting, if that's okay with everybody, and we can agree a date. Is that all right? When was the last time everybody went into a library, actually? Hands up on screen and in this room. You can be as honest as you want to, don't worry. Rob, we know, goes frequently. Yes. Anybody else in the last year been into one of our libraries? Lona, well done. Right, okay. I'm just wondering, just because of the, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but just not success is the word I'm looking for, but just because of the pleasure that we had to visit the PRU, which we're not calling PRU anymore, we're calling now Tydfil, and I'll explain that in a minute. But do you remember, as chair, I said, you know, sometimes, like we went out to the college, we go out to schools, it is worth going out to look at our establishments, our, you know, our places of work, you know, where they do these services that we scrutinise, because it just gives us a feel for it. So I'm wondering whether the next scrutiny item for libraries, we actually hold it in Central Library, just so we can get a feel for what they're doing, and then the staff may be available to meet with us as well, because there's nothing better than hearing it from them as well, similar to how we did in Tydfil, isn't it? Okay.
Can I just ask something? Sorry, I didn't listen to the meeting. What was the footfall? Did we ask that question?
No, we missed you, Michelle, because I forgot the footfall, and only just remembered because Natalie reminded me about the mobile library. So we can pick that up. We can ask that question via email, though. Should we do that? Anything else
But
that you wanted to ask?
Me?
aren't those figures actually in the reports? You can work them out, because where it says you've got the table of the quartiles, for things like footfall, book reading, whatever, number of children's events, so on. You'll find, and I don't think I'm being unkind, in many instances, in most instances, Merthyr Tydfil libraries were in the bottom quartile, and also they show the actual lowest in terms of percentage or figures, and quite often we were the lowest. So we know that's us. So that we can guess or figures from those. But you certainly get from the overall picture anyway some idea of footfall.
And I think we can still ask the question, because I think, you know, the question is as well around the events they're doing. Is it bringing more people in? I went to a boxing event at Central Library recently, you know, and you know, just talking to people there, they were feeling enthused to go back into a library, if you like. And I think, you know, if we just think of the world we live in these days, whilst technology is a fantastic, amazing thing, and you can read on Kindles and whatso and get things downloaded, you know, there is such a wonderful nurturing feeling about, well, perhaps this is my personal view, about reading a book and the leaves of a book and going into a library. So, you know, and in a library, I think this is what we need to do more perhaps as well, is share that a library isn't just about going in and hiring, you know, loaning a book for a period of time. There's so much more that it's accessible to and they can provide. So I think it would be good for us to do a little bit of a visit and see exactly, you know, what's on offer.
Yeah, because me, I haven't been to the library. The only time I went is for meetings with the trust and things like that. And I don't know anybody that goes to the library anymore.
So I think perhaps we need to bring a little bit of power back to the libraries, because, you know, we will, let's be honest, we will be the first to scream, shout and kick if they're lost. Because once they're lost, they are lost forever, sadly. So that's just my little mantra as you chair. Jill, sorry, I've only just seen your hand up.
Hello. Just to say that the figures are not a true reflection with Treharris Library being shut.
Right,
And
okay.
hopefully it'll be open soon.
Yeah. Okay, Jill, you haven't heard of a date of that, with it being down, you're in your neck of the woods. Have you any update on it?
I think Jane can answer that. She can hear us now, she said.
I can't ask Jane now because she's an officer outside of the street.
Okay. Well, I think it's coming shortly, but I haven't been given a date.
All right. So what I'm just wondering is, we could just pick that up then. I'll pick that up on the quarterly technical meeting. January. And I think it would be... Just flashed up in January. Oh, January, right, okay, thank you. Thank you, Lawrence, as well, because you did say New Year, didn't you? And it would be useful for us to do, you know, a visit, I think, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. It's the old building was restored.
Yeah.
And the old building was a fantastic building.
Yeah.
Difficult to operate, difficult to run.
Yeah.
But just about on events, I think that looking at this national or England report on the National Council for Literacy, they do a lot of work in this area of encouraging people, and they're very strong on trying to promoting or encouraging events that themselves may relate to.
Right.
You know, media, films, whatever, shows, but also that those link to books.
Right.
And reading.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the great example of that is Harry Potter.
Yes.
Nobody believed that kids would actually read Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But they did.
They did post the movies. Some pre, but the movies actually encouraged them to pick up the books then as well.
Encouraged it to go on.
Yeah.
So that's a great, and there's many more of them.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I wouldn't say to the library people in education.
Yeah.
But you know, they're in Central now.
Yeah.
They've got the Christmas tree up. So I'm not impressed with that, because I don't see what the link to literature is. Although for my generation, obviously it's great because it would be the Bible.
Yeah.
But nowadays it isn't, and I don't see any point in Christmas trees and so on when there's all that stuff out in town. Did I see you in town on Saturday?
You did see me in town on Saturday. You just made me have a little tickle, love laughter then, Robert, to apologise. But yeah, I think people's perception of
Santa's grotto.
I was going to say
$7.50 a go.
Yes. We won't digress.
For miles to go in.
They were queuing for miles. We won't quite digress into Sean Conn and Christmas and what have you, but I do get your point, Rob. Thank you ever so much. Okay. Colleagues, the next item on the agenda was scrutiny referrals. I haven't had any. I don't know if you've had any from any members of the public or anything. No. Okay, and then lastly, feedback on scrutiny activities. Well, obviously, we want to update you on the Tydfil visit that we had on the 11th of November, which we'll discuss when we join everybody in committee room 3. Any other items deemed urgent by myself? I have none. Just to remind you all that the next meeting on the 5th, I do have two. The 5th of January is safeguarding, including lockdown procedures and service risks. And on the one show tonight is Ilgeric School. On the one show tonight, BBC One show tonight is Ilgeric School. If anybody's interested and would like to watch that, they're on the one show tonight.
I didn't know that was tonight.
At 7 o'clock. BBC One. BBC One. Okay, I don't know if you want to take a natural break, those who are with me, for a couple of minutes. as we move into committee room 3. Toilets are gents are just straight opposite this door, lady around the corner. Committee room 3 and 4 is straight down this corridor to the left-hand side. Okay? Those of you online, what's happening with the online guys? Are we taking the laptop across to try it or not? It won't work in there. Okay. Guys, I do apologise, but when we go into committee room 3 and 4, we just haven't got the communication equipment set up. So that would conclude your participation in today's scrutiny meeting. My sincere apologies. Just FYI, councillors are having a briefing on the issues regarding the communication equipment within the building on the 27th of November. So hopefully we'll know what's happening then. But we shall keep a watchful eye on it. Thank you so much, you guys online, for joining us today. I don't know if they can see me or not. I'm waving. But oh, they can see us, can they? All right, okay. Bye, guys. Bye. Thank you, Jane. She was there, lover.
Oh, that equipment's now